Good day, shredding fans! I am your shreddy, snowy host, Emily Trepanier. Welcome to the Shredding for Gold podcast. Happy to have you here, and we are about to embark on episode 15 of the Shredding for Gold podcast. But before we do, just a few little things I wanna go over. First off, just a big shout out to Justin of the Disenabled podcast. I think I mentioned it on a previous podcast that I was on the podcast, the Disenabled podcast with Justin. For a few episodes. So we ended up doing 3 episodes on his podcast. So that was super fun. We will be sure to add that to the show notes so that you guys can check it out. And if you want to listen in, then go ahead. It's really good, so I would strongly suggest listening if you've got a bit of time. And also be sure to share it with all your family and friends so they can listen as well. Big shout out to Justin from the Disenabled podcast. That was super fun, and it's been super fun, getting to know and chat with Justin a little bit more as well. So, another thing before we get started, we are currently in the process of doing a big upgrade to the Team Starfish website. So for those of you who are super keen and have been frequently checking in on the website, you might notice a few little changes. We're gonna have the guest book is almost operational. I'm still not super happy with how the guest book is laid out. But that's a work in progress, and the beauty of being able to customize everything on the website is that I can keep customizing it until I am super happy with the podcast. So stay tuned. We're going to keep updating. We haven't released the big update that I was mentioning a few episodes ago for the Team Starfish website, only because I'm not quite ready to release that yet, but look forward for that in the coming weeks. I would say within the next month, the big update for the Team Starfish website will be live for everyone to see. So if you want to check it out, and feel free to visit www.teamstarfish.ca. And again, feel free to share with all of your family and friends so they can check it out too, because maybe you've talked to them about what I'm doing and the journey that I'm on towards the Paralympics, and maybe they are interested in learning more, so that would be a great chance for you to share the Team Starfish website so they can go on and learn more about what's happening. So so let's get started with episode 15. We're going to start off the episode I have a video. Well, it's actually going to be audio because this podcast is only audio, but it's this particular video. It gives you, it's a good lead into the episode that is going to be episode 15. So episode 15, I want to chat about the importance of the guide-athlete relationship. In my last episode, we talked about how things were going and how the beginning of the season is going, and I touched a little bit on the different people that are on my team, and so I touched a little bit on the guide, the coach, and the blockers. So I touched a little bit on how the differences between that. Now I really want to focus on and zero in on the importance of the guide-athlete relationship. That's a really big question it's one of the big questions that is always asked of me. Just how important is the guide-athlete relationship? being a blind snowboarder like I am, a lot of people are curious. Like, they want to know if that's really important. And so I kind of want to touch on that. I want to dive a little bit more deeper into that. So I was going through the videos that we've taken thus far this season, and I came across one that it's a really cool video. So obviously, because this podcast is audio only, you'll only get the audio. But my guide Isaac does a really good job he does a really good job overall. But in this particular video, this is great because you can kind of get a sense of what's going on. So you'll hear him talk different terms. The one thing you'll notice is that it's going to be very when he is talking, it's short little phrases. And so I'm going to play this video, and so you'll only hear audio, obviously. But then once this video is done, I'll break down some of the things that he's talking about, and then just kind of and then I'll also highlight the importance of the guide-athlete relationship, because it's a big one. It's a big one. So first off, let's just start off with this audio. It's about a minute long, so here it is.
One. Hold. One. Keep it going. Straighten it out. One. You got it. Keep that. One. Good job. Keep it nice and straight. Speed. One. Less back and forth. One. You got it. Nice. One. Keep it going. One. Pull it flat here. One. Good job. One. Okay, keep it going. One. You're good. One. Good job. One and hold. That's your new straight. One. Nice. One. That's your new straight. One. Good job. One. More straight. One.
So there's the video, and so you probably are wondering, what in the world is he saying? There's so many different terms there that he was mentioning. So I'm gonna break it down for you guys, and then I'll go into a few other aspects of the guide-athlete relationship and the importance of it. But for now, I'm just gonna break down some of the things that he is saying. So as a guide, so actually before I do break it down, I wanna mention again, even though I did mention it in a previous episode, the importance of the guide. So the guide, essentially, for those of you who are not aware or who don't know, the guide essentially is my eyes. So whatever he's telling me is how I'm going to get safely from top of the run to the bottom of the run, be it on a mountain, be it on a hill. So whatever he says, I have to listen. I listen to it, and the information that he gives me helps me get safely down the mountains. So you can imagine he has to make sure whatever he is saying to me, I fully understand. Because, say for example, he says something, and that's not something that we've talked about before, and he just says it just totally by accident. That's that's gonna like that'll throw me off, and that'll make things confusing. So I won't know what he's talking about. So so then he's like, and then so I guess like what I'm trying to say is that whatever he's saying, we have chatted about prior. So when we first became a team, we spent a good chunk of, especially the first day, just sitting and chatting about the like communication on the mountain, how we can communicate on the mountain, what phrases, what words work, and what do those words and phrases mean. So I wanted to explain that first because I feel like that's an important thing to know. So as someone who's blind and who's riding down mountains, like the mountain runs, and anyone for that matter who's blind, who's going down either a mountain or a hill run, they have to work with their guide to make sure that they fully understand what the guide is saying to them. Because, well, if they don't fully understand and the guide just like says something out of the blue, it's just gonna throw us off. So, and then it happens. Like, honestly, it happens, and it's totally okay. That's usually if that happens, I'll just like slow down and come to a stop and be like, what? What are you saying? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. It happens though. So, but most of the time we just like stick with the words that we have like spoken about and we've like agreed upon. So, I feel like that was important to note before I go into some of the terms that he was talking about. So, so let's now go into some of the terms that he was talking about. So, you'll notice that he was saying different numbers. So sometimes he would say 1, and sometimes he would say 2. So, those represent actually turn sizes. So when he says 1, those are actually really small, tight turns. Just like going from one edge to the next edge. When he says 2, those are a little bit bigger. Those are a little bit more across like the run itself. So I can go across the run a little bit more. So it's like a bit of a larger turn compared to what my 1 turn would be. So that's like what 1 and 2 means. So we use those, and you'll notice that he said it multiple times. So he might say 1, 1, 1, 1. And so what that means is that it doesn't mean that I'm doing like, it's not staying on the same edge. In actual fact, it means going, say, if I'm on my toe edge. So if he says 1, 1, 1, 1, so if I start on my toe edge, it would be, the 1 would mean toe, the next one would be go on your heel, toe, heel, and just go back and forth. So I don't, like, stay on, like, the same edge, so it's like I go from one turn to the next, so. And that's the same with 2 as well. When he's saying multiple 2s, it's not staying, like, on one turn. It's going from one turn to the next turn. So, if he says hold, though, that means to stay on that particular edge. Say, for example, we want to, like, go across the hill a bit. Or, say, for example, we're passing people. Then he'll use hold, and that'll indicate to me that we're going across the hill a bit, or we're going around something, or an object, either be it a person, be it a tree, whatever. So hold is an important one. But otherwise, if he just keeps saying a number, then I know to go from one turn to the next turn. So I know that I had tried to describe that in Facebook post in one of the videos that I posted, because someone actually reached out and asked me about it. So I wanted to clarify it a little bit more on this podcast. So I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, just let me know, guys, and I'll try to explain it. I'll try to explain it again. But I feel like that one makes the most sense to me. And so that's like turn sizes. Another thing he says is he can describe like the terrain that's coming up. So you heard him say coming up the flat. So that means like it's going to be flat. So then I can do like those smaller one turns again. I can do like the smaller one turns. That's a good spot for them. Knowing what's coming up is important for me. And sometimes he's able to say that. Sometimes it's just a matter of me feeling it out, just based on what's going on the run. And because he can only say so much before like things come up, right? So sometimes it like sneaks up on him. So that's why it's always important for me to be able to like work on feeling out the terrain, because sometimes he might miss something, and that's totally okay, and it's totally expected. And that's just the nature of the sport. But he does. All of my guides have done a really good job when they can to sort of give me like, even if it's like a brief like small word or small phrase saying, hey, something's like, there's something different's coming up. So, but that's another thing that you heard in the video. And then another thing you also heard in the video was that's your new straight. So what that means, so as I mentioned in a previous episode, mountains versus hills, I think it was, there are like different sizes, like different sides of a mountain, but also the runs, the runs aren't just like straight down runs. Sometimes the runs they go straight for a while, and then we have to turn either to our left or to our right. Either be a gradual turn or a more sharp turn. So then becomes the challenge of figuring out where, which way down is on the run. So that has been a struggle to figure out. But a few weeks ago, we kind of had a little bit of a breakthrough with that, where he started saying, that's your new one. And that's your new straight. That's your new straight. And so whenever he would say that, I would know, because we worked it out, that whatever way my board was facing, like whatever way the front of my board was facing, if he were to say that's your new straight, then I would know that was actually the new down, like my new placement of where we were going on the run. So that's been pretty cool. So we discovered this a few weeks ago, that wording, and it's actually been working out really good. In the very beginning, when we first started using that phrase, I would actually, when he would say that's your new straight, I would actually use my hand and point to where that was, and then he would confirm, yes, that's the new straight. He would just say, yep. And so I still do that on and off now, but now that we've sort of know that phrase, that particular phrase means what it means. I don't always remember to put the arm up, but that's okay because we've worked it out so that we know that's what that phrase means. And so that was a really cool thing that we had discovered and worked on a few weeks ago. And so we've been really playing with that, and it seems to be working out really good. So I'm really happy because it's always a challenge to know where, I can sometimes tell where the downhill is on the run, but sometimes it gets really, it gets tricky because you, get it's almost a little bit disorienting sometimes. So, especially if I know we're turning a bit, I do my best to, reorient, but sometimes just, having that extra, that extra little bit of information, it makes all the difference. It's not as disorienting as it was. So, and that's something that's really cool. Working with the same guide all the time is that you, not only do you build a relationship, but you also figure out what works for getting down the mountains, and if there's any challenges, you do lots of trial and error as a team to figure out different techniques or different tools that'll work to help conquer through those challenges. And so that's just some of what you heard in the video, but it's a great segue to the question at hand. Just how important is the guide-athlete relationship? And it's ridiculously super duper important to have to work on the guide-athlete relationship, because if we don't have that relationship, if the guide and athlete don't have that relationship and aren't working on that relationship actively, it's just not going to work as well as what it should. So anytime that I've gotten a new guide, especially our first year, especially, I always work on that with all of my guides, and I'll continue to do that. But especially our first year, that is a critical time, I would say, in the relationship between a guide and an athlete. Especially that first month, or those first few months, because you're getting to know each other, you're learning about each other, you're learning what works, what doesn't work, what things, the different styles of communication, because every athlete who is blind will have different things that'll work for them going down the mountains or the hills, whatever they're doing. And if they're snowboarding or they're skiing, they'll all have different things that they know work for them. So I would say definitely the first month, even the first few weeks, are super critical. Super critical in the guide-athlete relationship. Someone asked me once if you, the second you meet a guide, are you able to trust them 100%, or does it take time to trust them and build that confidence? And honestly, it doesn't come overnight. It honestly doesn't come overnight. That trust and confidence, it just doesn't automatically come. It's something that has to be worked on over time. And each time you work with that, with each other, doing whatever you're doing, so for me, it's snowboarding. Each time we work on that, or it could be stand-up paddleboarding, I'm sorry. So each time we work on that, the trust and the confidence for everyone who's working together, it slowly builds over time. So yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication from both the athlete and the guide. It's not just a one person job. It's everyone who's involved in that relationship. So yeah. So guide athlete relationship, definitely very important. It's definitely something that I take very I take it very seriously. And I have to, because they are my eyes. So if I can't trust them, or they can't trust me, it's not going to work. So that is something that I've always been, that's always been a big thing for me. And it's a big thing for a lot of my fellow blind skiers and snowboarders out there. And anyone who has a guide, anyone who's blind who uses a guide for whatever they're doing. It's super important. And I am so thankful for all of my guides who I've had in the past and who I have currently. They are what keep me training hard. They are the people who keep me safe doing whatever it is I'm doing, be it on snow, be it on water, be it running around the neighborhood, anytime that I need a guide. I am so thankful to have all of the guides that I've had, and all my current guides. Super ridiculously thankful for all of them. Another question that I want to briefly touch on that is related to the guide-athlete relationship, not exactly, but someone was asking me, is guiding in a blind athlete, is it hard? And so I've asked a bunch of my guides, because I had an idea in my head, but I wanted to get it from the guide's perspective. And it's also been touched on a bit when I've brought on a few of my guides in a few of my previous podcast episodes. The short answer is yes. Guiding a person who is blind is hard. However, and this is the big however, every guide that I spoke with, every guide that I asked about, they said, even regardless how hard it is to guide, it is super rewarding, and we're super happy to be guiding. So, yeah. And so you can imagine why it's so hard. The guide has to be laser focused on what's going on. So they have to they're doing double duty. So they're keeping themselves safe, but they're also looking around and giving me information to keep me safe going down the snow, or if I'm stand-up paddleboarding, going paddling on the ocean, or if I'm running around the neighborhood. They are almost doing double duty. So it is a lot of focus. Yeah, super focused. They always have to be when they're guiding. They have to be awake. They can't be half asleep. They have to be super awake, laser focused. Because if one wrong word could easily cause chaos and disaster, or it could cause an injury, which is not something we obviously want. So yeah, that is the answer to that. It's hard work, but very rewarding being a guide. From asking all of the guides that I've had and have currently, that is the answer, and that's right from them. That's not me thinking that. I wanted to get it right from them. So if you're interested in and you haven't listened to them yet, I brought on a few of my guides at the beginning of this podcast. The few of my guides from back in Ontario, I brought on a few of them. So feel free to check those episodes out as well. Exciting news. Very, very soon, in an upcoming episode, I am bringing on my current guide, Isaac. That way you guys can meet Isaac, and we are interviewing Isaac, so you guys get to start to know him. And I also want to hear, I know how his experience is going thus far, but I also want you guys to hear how his experience is going thus far, guiding me. So I'm really excited to bring guide Isaac on very, very soon. We're just working out the schedule for both of us so that we can record the episode. So look forward to that coming very, very soon. And so I'm going to wrap it up, folks. But before I do, this is the Shredding for Gold podcast. Check out the shreddingforgold.com website to learn more about this podcast and to listen to all previous episodes of this podcast. And we will talk to you again very, very soon. This has been episode 15. And this is Emily Chapranier, shredding off. Shred you later, folks.